Hi, everyone. Surrogacy is so much more than a medical process. It's a deeply human experience rooted in trust, shared vulnerability, and connection. And today's episode is a powerful reflection of just that. I'm joined by Abby and Kara, two incredible women whose surrogacy journey brought them together in the most unexpected and meaningful way. Through open hearts and mutual respect, what began as a path to building a family turned into something even more lasting, a friendship amongst their families built on trust, empathy, and shared purpose. In this conversation, they open up about the highs and lows, some of them being absolutely hilarious, the strength found in community, and the joy of forming a bond that extends far beyond the surrogacy experience. Their story is a beautiful reminder of what's possible when people show up for each other with honesty and intention. Enjoy! Me, you, and who? Who knew it would take more than two people to have a baby? In a world where infertility is no longer a taboo topic, this podcast will take you through all of the different aspects of surrogacy and egg donation through the lens of many who walk this journey in different ways. My name is Whitney Hall, and I am a two-time surrogate, now turned surrogacy coordinator for Egg Donor and Surrogate Solutions, the very agency I used when I chose to carry for two amazing families. With this podcast, it is our goal to help guide and support you as you learn about what it takes to grow a family in an alternative way, as well as hear inspiring and beautiful stories of how this path has changed lives forever. We can't wait for you to hear about just one more way happy families are created every day. You guys, seriously, thank you so much for just coming on and sharing your story. Abby, I feel like your name has just been around floating here for forever. I know I always hear, oh yeah, Abby told me, and just all of the things. So I'm so excited that I get to finally talk to you, which is so fun.
I know. I haven't got to connect with you at all. I was talking to a surrogate friend yesterday about this. She's the one that got me roped into this years ago. Said you would be perfect. And so I was talking to her yesterday and telling her that we were doing this today. And I said, honestly, I'm curious what we're going to talk about because my first journey was so insane that, yeah, I'm like, this one was just so wonderful. Asher was the best baby.
Oh,
so,
it was the best.
Kara's getting all melty. Okay, well, before we go in there, just for any of our listeners that are not watching, why don't you guys go ahead and just introduce yourselves so that they know who your voices are.
Okay.
You go ahead.
You want me to go first?
Yeah,
okay. Okay. Hi, I'm Abby Jurgens.
Yay.
And yes, I was a surrogate twice, and I carried 3 babies in 2 journeys, and had successful transfers. Just had a really miraculous things in both journeys. But today we'll mostly be talking about our second journey here, and just
we're lucky enough to have Kara here, your intended mom, now mom.
Yes.
She's graduated from intended mom.
Full mom. Yes, I'm Kara. I was intended parent, IP, and now am full mom to my sweet little son that Miss Abby carried so faithfully, so gently. This was me and my husband's first time doing surrogacy. And from the beginning, I was so stressed. I'm like, what's this going to be like? Like, how's it going to work? But honestly, everyone's made it so nice. And Abby was just like, I couldn't have asked for a better surrogate mommy for Asher. Like, oh my gosh, I brag about Abby all the time to my friends. I'm like, she was the best. Like, I love her.
I'm gonna cry a lot.
Salty coffee. I always say it. I'm like, salty coffee all the time.
No.
I love that. No, that's so sweet. Well, okay, Kara, before you start bragging on Abby, let's go back a little bit. How did surrogacy even become part of your story?
So my husband and I, we got married in 2016, And we had a lot of discussions about, you know, children ahead of time. But then when we got married, we're like, okay, now like let's get serious. Like, what's that gonna look like? And I kind of already knew my body was like not meant for baby carrying. I kind of had suspicions. I kind of thought
Okay.
like, I don't think this is gonna work. And even before surrogacy was part of the conversation, I was adopted, and so I knew adoption was a big thing for me.
Yeah.
So we actually started an adoption process before we started surrogacy. And we thought, oh, the adoption process, like, no one, you don't know exactly how long any of these processes are going to take.
Sure.
Um,
Absolutely.
so we thought, oh, we'll start the adoption process, and then like after adoption, we'll then do the surrogacy. Well, we started our adoption process in 2020, which is a great year to do anything.
Oh,
Um,
great year. Yes. Nothing major going on. Really
no, it was a
easy.
very boring year.
Yeah.
Like
Totally
very
boring year. Yeah.
ho-hum year. And so that made things a little different for our adoption, and we knew it would probably elongate the process, but our agent was so kind and was like, this will probably take 2 to 3 years. I've never had a family wait any longer than that. And so in my mind, I'm like, okay. Like in my head, I'm like, oh, it could happen like tomorrow. So I'm thinking like, oh, this will happen like a year, and then we'll have like, then we can do surrogacy the following year. Well, we're coming up on year 3 of waiting for our adoption to come through.
Yeah.
And we're like, and I'm just looking at my husband. I'm like, I want a baby. Like, and he's like, well, let's go ahead and start the surrogacy process. I know we haven't adopted, we haven't placed or anything. Let's go ahead and start the surrogacy. And let's see, let's just, because we had no idea. We had zero clue how it was going to work.
Sure.
The through we did an egg retrieval, and so that process started like in the spring of 2023. And at the same time as we're having these discussions with my doctor, we get a call from our adoption agent saying,
Of course.
we
Of
placed
course.
you, you're gonna have a baby in September. And I'm like, what? And then so there was a lot of overlapping, so many insurance calls, so many doctor visits, so many everything in 2023 was wild, between getting our adoption process up and going and finished within less than a year, and then also getting the IVF treatments I needed and matching with Abby. And so by the end of 2023, I had my first daughter through adoption, and then Abby is pregnant with Asher by the end of 2023. So that's kind of like the very abbreviated story of like how surrogacy came into our lives. It came in like a flash of lightning. It struck hard, fast, but it was wonderful. Love the result.
Oh my gosh, that is so wild. It's like crickets, and then it just comes full force.
Yes.
Oh
Yes.
my gosh. Okay, so Abby, you kind of already alluded to it because you said, first journey was a little, just what were your words? A little wild, little
Yes.
little something.
Unexpected, for sure.
Unexpected. So even
Yeah.
after having that experience, what inspires you to come back and say yes to doing this again?
That's a great question. I try, there's a couple answers to that, but I will to keep it as condensed as possible. Just with a lot of prayer and discussion with my husband. The fact that our first journey went as smoothly as it did, with such things throughout, like curveball after curveball.
Yeah.
That I was like, if we made it through that, and just such a miraculous journey in itself, that we deserve it to ourselves to do this again.
Yeah.
Another reason being Surrogate Solutions being such an amazing company, and working with I knew I would get to work with the same coordinator whom I loved and felt very comfortable with. So she had called, and I remember being just, it's always, you're like weeks out, you're like, I'll never do this again. Postpartum and emotion. I really wanted to have, I'm sure you've heard this over and over through the agency, but it's just the neatest experience to have a baby for anyone, but to do it for someone who's never had their own, I'm going to get emotional, but to have their own baby, just biologically and for the first time to have that experience, I was like, man, that was always like in there. And my previous family had 3 kiddos before,
Yeah.
wonderful family. They just wanted one more, you know? And so I just knew it could be such a different process. So, you know, in talking through with the agency, that was kind of the thing. I was like, if I can find a family who we really connect with, just desiring their first baby and we have the same, you know, beliefs and those kinds of things, it would be amazing. So then Carrie and Caleb came along and it was the perfect, I mean, it was pretty instant for, I feel like, both of us.
Oh, I love that. So going from, you know, you have kind of this dream of, okay, first baby and all of that. And then Kara, all of a sudden you're like, hey, we're doing surrogacy. And oh, by the way, we're also adopting too. How was that between y'all whenever you're kind of, you're having this experience of like,
right.
Here we go. Like, I feel I don't want to call it a curveball because it's kind of beautiful and fabulous.
No,
but it's like, you know, it's like, okay, this is another fun part of this amazing story.
Yeah. For me, I mean, I remember exactly where I was and that discussion with the coordinator. And I remember her saying, well, kind of being, I feel like she was going back and forth between talking to you, talking to us. And, you know, I think you were very upfront with like, we know there are multiple ways that we're planning to do this. So
absolutely. Yeah.
I think that's key with any family that's trying to match, is just being very honest with that. Like, it wasn't like well, we're done, you know. I felt overwhelmed for them personally.
Oh my gosh. No, for sure. But I think that's beautiful, Abby, to know. I mean, truly, just the transparency of just being forward and upfront about anything is so important in this process, because it really does help with that connection and that trust factor. And you know, no one should ever feel surprised in this process.
No. Right. Yeah.
For sure. So Kara, I know Abby, you kind of said you felt pretty like instant connection. Kara, how did you feel when, again, you're kind of, you have a lot going on and you meet Abby? What were your thoughts when you first met Abby? How did you kind of know, like, this is my person?
It was so funny because right before we got a match with Abby, we'd also had received another match. And it was so funny because we had been up on the website, I think, like almost a month before we actually got matches. And after about a month, I was like, oh man, I really hope someone likes this. And then within a week within a day, I think both Abby and another person like came into our view and we're like, whoa, okay, now we have like people to choose from. But I just remember looking at Abby's profile, and the other woman, she looked phenomenal too. Like she sounded fun. I think she was a big Disney fan. I'm like, oh, we can vibe. But I don't know, something about Abby being like, I think you put out there like, you didn't say we live in like the woods, but you had alluded to like, we do hiking and like we love adventures. I don't remember, something like that.
Yeah, outdoorsy probably.
Outdoorsy. And in the past couple of years, Caleb and I have gotten really into hiking and like nature walks, and that was something that was important to us and we want to do with the kids. And so I don't know, it just made me feel like, ooh, maybe I'll learn something outdoorsy from Abby. And I just thought, oh, she seems like a fun person too. And so I don't know, it was just kind of one of those. I don't feel like I would have necessarily gone wrong with the other lady.
Right.
But it was just like a drawing of interest at that point to Abby. And then when we met on, I guess, a Zoom call, it I don't know, it just felt like instant connection, kind of like, not like love at the first sight kind of vibes, like just like, oh my gosh, like I see you, you see me, and we're just vibing, and then our husbands like are so cute.
Yes,
Like they
they
just
are.
sport talk all the time, and
I love
it was
it.
just sweet. And I don't know, and
Yes.
I think what also drew me into Abby and Cody, because this is something I don't know. I don't know how what other. I haven't actually talked to a lot of other moms that went through surrogacy, but to me, I didn't realize how important it was for us anyway to not just feel comfortable with Abby, but comfortable with her whole
Yes.
family.
Yes.
And so early on, when we met Abby and Cody, I was like, Cody's great. And I could tell that Abby was going to have like the best support team. She was
Yes.
going to have the best helper, the best cheerleader, the best just everything that she would need. And she already has 2 kids and a dog. And at the time, I think you were still living in y'all's tiny home.
Yeah. Oh
And
yeah.
I was just like, oh my
Oh
gosh.
yeah.
And she wants to be pregnant. Okay, I guess. And then y'all moved and all this, and it was just crazy. I'm like, okay. But I
Oh
don't
yeah.
know, just seeing how well Cody was just
Mhm.
there for her, and then I got to see her kids. Oh, I think I remember they were kind of sick, but I was just like,
Oh.
I don't know. I felt the connection with her and just seeing how much love she was surrounded by. So I was like,
Mhm.
I just feel really comfortable with this person. She seems really strong and well
Yeah.
loved. So I don't know. It was just like a good vibe kind of feeling. And
Mhm.
then seeing the love that was surrounding her, I'm like, okay, I think we can do this. So
Aw.
Yeah. I feel like
You're
that's
so
such an
sweet.
important point because yes, absolutely. Like Abby, you're the star of the show, right? Like when it comes to like, hey, we're trying to find our surrogate. We want to make sure that, everything's all good. You want to make that connection. But you're exactly right, Kara. That support person aspect is just as important. And it does feel
Yes.
good to know, like, hey, when there's a sick kid, when there's, things happening, like she does have a good
Yes.
support, and that absolutely feels that's vital.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes.
What about you, Abby? How did you kind of know you were like, Kara's my person?
Oh my goodness. Well, I mean, you're already getting to see her, but she is just the funnest person. Caleb supporting you, loving you. Like he was almost just as concerned and he had all the questions he had. And it wasn't like in a doubtful way. It was just very like every appointment, everything. He just likes to know, like he's very informed and he likes to know, that he can be like, what can I do? How can I help? Like he's such a good helpmate.
Yeah.
And so, like, we definitely saw that too. I remember Cody and I getting off the call and we were just like, we love him. They're like, well, it's funny because it's like, we're not opposites, but we're very different. So then to mesh that well beyond, I think it was just the same thing, like a deep interest in like, I want to get to know them better. Like, I just want to be your friend. I'll carry your baby, but I also want to be your friend.
yeah, that was very true. I think I remember saying something similar to Kayla's like, they're just cool people. Like I could
Yeah,
just hang out with them
I
and
know. Yeah.
Oh
So
my
yeah, it
gosh.
just grew from there for sure. Yeah.
That is so fun. Okay, so going along those lines, Abby, it grew from there. How did y'all grow that relationship with each other? Were there maybe specific moments that kind of deepened like the bond, or kind of how was that?
Yeah, I think getting to be in person, like you guys are so intentional in person. It's like so deep. Like I remember sitting at what restaurant was that breakfast place?
oh yeah, snooze.
Oh,
Oh
love
my
snooze.
gosh. So
Snooze.
good. So we had the best time. And Caleb had brought this deck of
Oh,
cards. Oh my gosh. This was like let's get to know you better.
I love it.
Um and these questions, I mean, they were some hard hitting questions. This was like was that our first medical,
I
I
think
think it was like our
so.
med
Medical,
screening or
yeah, med
whatever.
screening.
Yeah.
Yes. Yeah. And so we were in Texas and we were meeting them for breakfast. He brought these, getting to know you better cards and would you rather type questions
I
and all
love
of that,
it.
and then getting to go deeper. It was fun. And so we had fun, but it was also like it was very intriguing. It left us very like, wow, that was more than just let's go have some biscuits and gravy before our appointment,
Sure.
Yeah.
What a great idea too,
Yeah.
because
It
I
was
feel like
genius.
in those situations it's very easy to kind of stay surface level and,
Yeah.
you know, and I like to call it like cocktail conversation, you know,
Right.
just very like, you know, oh, how's your
Surface.
day? What's
Yeah.
the weather?
Fluffy.
You know,
Fluffy.
yeah,
Yep.
exactly. I love, and I feel like that is such a great tool for like
Yes.
okay, hey, we're kind of doing this big thing together.
Yes.
Let's dig deep.
Yeah. And we did right off the bat. I think none of us like surface from what I've learned. So like we in like not in a bad way, just like they're so genuine and like what you see is what you get people that just getting to connect with them was fun, and there were lighthearted moments, like silly questions
Of
too.
course.
But it was fun to like chime off of your spouse and like kind of throw them out like, no, you like this more than
No, that's so great.
a good memory.
Yeah. Oh my gosh, I love that. That's such a great idea. So obviously you guys had this beautiful journey together. You know, we had beautiful baby Asher, and, you know, just to had all of those wonderful things, and have since continued to just have this amazing relationship. Looking back, what would you guys say were maybe some of just like your highlight, favorite moment, big or small?
Oh my gosh, go ahead.
Well, I was actually, as you were talking about snooze, I was actually thinking about, because by the time we got to meet you guys in person,
Yeah.
Kiki had just been born.
Mm-hmm.
Because I remember that first appointment, or at least one, I guess, yeah, that first appointment. And I remember all four of us and Kiki were there.
Yes.
And I remember, I'm not trying to call your husband out, but I remember him being like, I hope I don't have to get my blood drawn. I hope I don't have to get my blood drawn.
Oh, I'm so glad you're saying this.
Not to drag Cody. He's a wonderful, very strong, hardworking
Shout
man.
out Cody, you got this.
Shout out Cody. But I think that's what made it kind of more funny to me, is like, he is such a man's man. And I'm looking at Caleb, I'm like, come on, Caleb, like get in there, like get manly like Cody. But then Cody's over here like, I really hope I don't have to draw blood today. I really don't want to. And me and Abby are like, you might have to. And then sure enough, like they're like, Cody, you gotta come back here.
Oh, that was the best. I forgot about that.
Yeah.
I did. I forgot about that. Yeah, he gets weak over needles, and I was dying. I'm like, really?
I know.
This is can we put this in perspective, please, Cody? Yeah.
Do this one thing.
It was so
right, your one thing.
Like, it's the simplest of
That's
things.
right.
The like least painful
So
thing
funny.
any of us have had to do.
Literally.
It's you know, because Abby's gonna be pregnant. I had to stick my stomach full of needles for over a month and go to all these appointments myself beforehand, and then and Cody's like, I don't want to get my blood drawn.
He was stressing out. Yeah, the coordinator tells you the next thing, and that was just something I totally forgot that he even had to do, and it was like hitting him. Like, wait a second.
I remember this.
I forgot about this part.
And I was
This
like,
is the part I
you're
don't
gonna be
like.
okay. You got this, bud. I do it
so
every week.
Yes, I know. Like both Abby and I have been getting our blood drawn like at least once a week. So I was just like, and I'm not a fan of. I used to be a big baby about needles too. But like you just kind of like this is in perspective. It's like this is a little thing.
Oh.
No one's ever died from this. Like we're gonna be okay.
Oh my gosh.
So anyway, it was that was just a funny story. But then another funny. It was the same day I think. Because after he had done his blood draw, he went back out to sit with Caleb, and I can't remember why, but I know what it was. Oh, Kiki had a blowout.
Of course.
In her carrier. And so Caleb and Cody had to like handle that while me and Abby are in the back talking to our doctor. And I come out and I come past Cody, who's like throwing away like diaper junk. And I'm like, what happened? He's like, oh, Kiki had a diaper incident. And I'm like, oh no. And Caleb's like, yeah, she had a blowout, and Cody's having to help me. I'm like, oh my gosh, but it's also very cute.
Awesome.
Way to get close fast. Get close fast.
Yes. So, and sorry, I keep thinking of all the funny things, like, because
they're all funny.
The last day not to fast forward too much, but the day we left after having Asher, we'd gone to breakfast. And Kiki had some food earlier in the morning when we first got up because she was hungry, so we gave her some food in the morning, and then we went to breakfast and we gave her some French toast. And I guess she's just overeaten because we're outside in the parking lot about to leave. Cody's holding Kiki because Kiki secretly loves
her.
Cody more than any of us. And so Cody's holding Kiki, and she just vomits everywhere. And thankfully, Cody, I guess, saw it coming because there's a distinct memory in my mind of him like holding her over like a pitcher and like letting her just vomit into this plant.
I think Caleb got amazing. Oh yeah, Caleb got splattered on though. Yeah. It was a whole whirlwind though. Like in Kiki's defense, that poor child had gone through. We weren't planning to have Asher.
I forgot. Yes.
That was the whole issue. So not the whole issue, but you know what I mean.
Yes.
It was a surprise.
Well, yeah. So I think that, sorry to fast forward all the way to that, but yes, that was part of like, Kiki's under a lot of stress. So they had planned out, I don't mean to tell your whole story, but like they had planned out to like, so Kara's mom, right? Kara's parents were coming. We were going to have Asher stay on Tuesday. So the whole plan, our plan was you guys just fly in on Saturday. So you're not there like all this time because you know how that can go. Get settled in, bring Kiki, but then she can stay with your mom. And then you guys just peacefully, blissfully bring Asher back to your hotel and you chill for a week and we all were besties. Yeah. That didn't happen at all. So it was like, no, it was like, it always comes where like for us down here, our doctors only work on certain shifts. And so we knew like our doctor was going to be here on this day. So we kind of were hoping for the Tuesday plan. And then that just never happened. So basically my water also doesn't break, but I knew there were like some good contractions. So we move on into all that. And I'm like, hey, you guys they were already going to be flying in on Saturday. Just maybe it'll be fine. So they start flying in and then the timing was just like, I'm going to have to hold this child in for him to meet his family. Was it like within 20 minutes of me delivering Asher, they got off the plane, drove 2 hours, made it to the hospital. You know, it was blissful. So Kiki had been through a lot of trauma in those last few hours.
8 hours. Because we were gonna be there Saturday. Part of the reason we came in Saturday is also because Abby had talked so much about her church and her church family, and I was like, I want to meet them. And because I had met her mom, because we did a maternity shoot in June, and so I got to meet her mom and see the town, and I fell in love. Yeah. We love Marion. So I was like, I want to see your church family because you talk so much about them. Yep. So that was the plan. It's like, go to church Sunday, parents come up Sunday night, Kiki stays with them Monday through Wednesday, and we all fly home Thursday. But but I just remember Abby texted me Friday night being like, girl, I'm having contractions. I'm like, okay, I literally was like, Caleb, we might have to drive tonight. And both Caleb and Abby had to kind of talk me down, like, no. Like, no, we're not driving 12 hours with your toddler. No. I was in a panic. I did not sleep well Friday night. We get up Saturday and we get to the airport, and I'm just like the whole time I'm just watching my phone waiting for texts to come in from either Abby or Cody, and she's like, I'm at the hospital. I'm like, oh my gosh, I'm gonna have a heart attack. I was so stressed. My gosh. And we get it, and of course it's raining, and so I'm like, Caleb, you can't like speed. We're gonna hydroplane on these tiny roads, and Kiki's just like, Kiki's champing it out, honestly. She did well on the flight. She did, it was a 2-hour flight and then a 2-hour car ride. So Kiki's just dealing. We get to the hospital, and I mean, she was in the delivery room. She saw everything go down.
She did. Bless her heart.
So she saw everything. I have a beautiful picture of us from it. But even after Asher was born, I felt bad because Kiki has had to just be held this whole time. I can't put her down anywhere. But thankfully, there was like the children's ward was down the hall, and they showed me, and there's like a little playroom. So after the super big high of emotion right after Asher was born, I'm like, I'll take Kiki and let her play in the playroom. I'll make all my phone calls anyway. So she was able to play, get some energy out. And then it became a question of like, am I staying at the hospital with Asher? Is Caleb?
Yeah,
And whoever, and so it just kind of, that kind of sucked because I was like, oh man, I really want to stay
it
here with
did.
my newborn son. Um,
Yeah.
Yeah.
but uh, and not to like go way back in time again, but when we did the adoption,
Mm.
and I this was a bunch of other emotions, a bunch of other things went into this, but I spent the first night with Kiki in the hospital with birth mom. So we actually were in the same
Mm.
room together with Kiki. We actually worked out because we took turns taking care of her. But the second night we were in the hospital with Kiki, Texas, I think it's required to be in the hospital for 48 hours, and so we had to stay a second night. And so the second night, birth mom had requested one night alone with her. And
Mm.
there was a thing, it was not a bad thing. It was just like a very emotionally driven situation. There's a whole other story with that. But I was like, let you, like, yes, you have that. That is, yes, you take that time. So Caleb and I then snuggled in our single hospital bed in the other room.
Oh.
And so I had decided, I'm gonna let Caleb have the first night with Asher because he didn't get a first night with Kiki in the
Mm-hmm.
hospital. So that kind of what made that decision for us. So he stayed at the hospital the first night with Asher, and I took Kiki to the hotel, which was a whole nother adventure because I had all this stuff with her and our suitcases and all just bags, and then I left my food in the car, and anyway, but we figured
There's
it
just
out.
a whole thing. But
It
it's
was
so
wild.
fun. I feel like, I mean, I think this is such just a great descriptor of how you can plan to the best of your ability, and
Oh
it's
yeah.
just not always going to go the
No.
way that we wanted to. But I feel like what was so great about this is, Kara, you had such amazing trust in Abby. Of yes, of course you're
Oh
stressed.
yeah.
Of course you're looking at your phone. Of course but you're not worried about not being contacted. You have an amazing communication.
Oh yeah.
At the end of the day, worst case scenario, if I don't get there in time, Asher's going to be okay. And you guys
Yeah.
had built such an amazing relationship
Yeah.
and trust with one another that even if, the rain and you do hydroplane and,
Right.
whatever,
Yes.
it's gonna be okay. And then you guys do get to have these crazy chaos moments and kids throwing up and,
Oh
holding
yeah.
over a plant and all of this stuff. And it's just, you guys are just living life with each
Yeah.
other. And I
Yeah.
mean, that's so beautiful
Mm-hmm.
that beyond just that, really, just beyond the surrogacy part, you guys have this connection and relationship where your husbands are talking sports and where, a kid is helping husbands are helping with diaper changes and all of the things. I mean, it's beautiful. It's just beautiful.
Mm-hmm.
No, it was another sweet memory I have is when we were able to, after the hospital stay, because thankfully in Illinois the hospital stay was only like 24 hours or one night,
It was quick.
so it was quick. But I appreciated the fact we were able to actually go spend our last full day, or at least part of our last full day, hanging out with Cody and Abby at their house with their kids. And
Mm-hmm.
it was the first time I'd really seen Kiki interact with other children. And now her kids are a bit older than,
Sure.
Yeah.
remind me how old, Abby, how old
They're
Porter?
6 and 8 now. They would have been, yeah, 5 and 7 at the time. So
Yeah.
yeah.
So they're, a bit older. Kiki is almost one. But I have some really sweet pictures at their house of her kids just being so sweet with Kiki, and her youngest daughter so sweet with Asher, just because he's like a day old, and he's just like, in his little car seat, and there's just sweet little moments of like kids interacting at, various ages, but just all kind of just like knowing to like be gentle and be kind, be helpful, like especially Porter. He was such a
I
good big
know.
brother to his little sister and his little surrogate sister. He was just so sweet. So I just remember being like, oh man, if anything, I hope that in that moment I was saying, if anything, I hope we stay connected with them because I want Kiki and Asher to know Porter and Keatley as they grow up and be
Hmm.
like, hey, they were there for you guys when you were super little. So
Yeah.
it was such a sweet little moment. And like we said earlier, Kiki decided Cody was the favorite adult,
Sure. Sure.
and so I have
Every
some
child.
yes, just loves Cody. It's so cute and he's so great. And I just have some really great pictures of him just holding her and they're just
Mhm.
laughing about whatever. And it's so I just have these sweet
Mm.
little quiet slice of life moments, which I love for. I live for a slice of life moment.
Yeah.
And so that was another sweet memory. And I was just like, this is the good stuff. This is the
This is
good stuff
it.
here.
Yeah, this is the good
Yeah.
stuff. I love that picture of like just that slice of life memory. I think that's such a beautiful descriptor. Abby, when you're thinking about that, when you're thinking about just the impact that you have had on, your family and you have had onto, families, and then thinking about your family and how they've been impacted by this experience.
Yeah.
What do you think of whenever you think of just that?
Myself and a lot of other surrogates start when their kids are pretty small. I mean, that's part of it. So I feel like surrogacy has just been a part of their life as much as it has been mine.
Mm-hmm.
Um, but they get to know, Kara and Caleb so deeply as well and love them. Like we're constantly, this is their baby, like those
Yeah.
kinds of things that, it's almost funnier now, especially you'll see friend's mom is pregnant or something.
Sure.
And the questions, they're just like, oh, is that yours? Like
Yeah.
the things that they're like, where it's like so inappropriate on a normal day, but like we have to just explain and fill in the
Sure.
blanks of like, so sorry, that was horribly rude. Let me give you some context. But yeah, so it's just fun, especially my son. He just comes across like he's just very matter of fact, like,
I
oh, is
love
that
it.
yours or
Is that yours?
somebody else's
Sure.
baby? And are you keeping it? That's always the question.
Oh,
Are you
Ah,
keeping it? Sure. Oh my gosh, I
so,
love it. I love it. That's
I
like
yep.
my eldest. She would never ask, is
Ooh,
it a boy or a girl? She would ask, is there
right.
one or two? Because I had
Yes.
twins. Because we have
Yes.
twins. I have keeper twins, and then my first surrogate pregnancy was twins. So she was just
Yep.
like, you just have twins. That's just what you do. So yeah, is it one
Right.
or two?
Yes. Yes. Yeah.
love it.
Yeah.
I
So
love
funny.
it.
Yes.
I love
So
it.
there's always funny things like that. But I mean, there are times, I'll be honest, there are times that it was really hard.
Of
And
course.
even recently, Porter was like, he's 8 now and he's been old enough to comprehend as best as he can. So he's seen 2 journeys and he's like, hey, can we go back to the trampoline park? Like, we have like Slick City in St. Louis, which is like, slides. We're very adventurous and we love to do crazy, zip I've had to like take one for the team, with my big old belly and they understand, but at the same time it's like those little comments you hear and you're like, man, yeah, I have had to take, be on the sideline more um than I think of. That's embedded in their mind as much as how exciting and awesome it all is too. They just just the sacrifice that it takes, but it's obviously so worth it.
Yeah. Well, they
And
get
it
to
just
have these different fun memories. They get to
oh
have,
yeah.
it's Porter and he's corralling all of,
Mhm.
these crazies in the living room and,
Yeah.
all of that stuff. And you have kind of
Oh
this
yeah.
new added family, as
Yes.
part of yours. Yeah.
I will say I will never forget, and still to this day, the Porter and Caleb connection, just as much as Kinky and Cody,
I
Porter and
love it.
Caleb. Oh my gosh. So the last day you guys were heading home, we go eat. I mean, there's a theme here. We like food, right?
We eat a lot.
So
I love it. I'm here for it.
we go have some good Mexican food. We're talking. It's a little emotional because we're wrapping things up. At this point, Porter learns a little bit of like Caleb and his work, and he's just interested, with
Mm-hmm.
Caleb's job, and Porter being an 8-year-old boy, he's just what? This is awesome. So,
Yes.
and so they just built such a strong bond, and my son is emotional, but not. He doesn't let people know it or see it or whatever. Um, but you could tell he was like, wait, they're leaving and they live far away and this is not okay. They've been with us I remember like you guys just driving back to the airport and Porter's quietly crying in our back seat and we didn't know.
Oh.
And so I turn around and I see him bawling and I'm like, "What's wrong, buddy?" And he's like, "I miss Caleb." And I was like,
Oh.
"Oh, me too, buddy." And so, but then it was neat because Caleb has YouTube videos conveniently. So I'm like, let's pull up some music. So we like pulled up some of Caleb's music and his videos, and there he is. And their kids are just singing in the back seat to him, covering Disney songs.
Yeah. Well,
So
again, I mean,
sweet.
that highlights that beautiful connection of it's not, it goes beyond just, I shouldn't say just, but it does, this journey goes beyond
Yeah.
baby and transfer days and, just,
Yeah.
and all of those things. And I think one of the things that I love the most about y'all's story is this want and desire to have a baby, and this want and desire to be a part of that story and be able to give this gift is so big and so huge, and it can feel so um emotional and
Mhm.
serious, and there's all these check boxes, and the things that you guys are bringing up that are the highlights are the hilarious and the funny and the joy and the
Yep.
just all of that. I mean, it's so, again, it's
Mm.
just so beautiful. When you guys are, if you had any advice for any potential intended parent or woman who's thinking maybe I could do this, what would you want to say to them, either of you?
I think if I could give any intended parent advice, um, I would always say definitely pray. Find a
Mhm.
community of people who will pray with you and
Mm,
for you. Because that was a big part behind the scenes, even prior to meeting Abby and Cody, is we had a really strong church family. We had a really strong community of people who loved us and knew us. And I would regularly have little old ladies at our church come up to me and ask me how's it going, and they knew it was a hard question. They knew it was an emotional question because I'd been wanting to
yeah.
be a mom for a long time, and I just had been. This was also during when I was still waiting for Kiki, and I would just get really sad, and they could see, and so they come over and they just be like, "Can I pray for you right now?" And just in the
Mm.
hallways, in the parking lots, just put a hand on me, being like, God bless Caleb and Kara with a family that you have for them. And I think I would remember those prayers in the harder days, the sad days, the difficult days, the challenging days. And even after we made the connection with Abby and Cody, even after we had secured our adoption situation with Kiki, there were still plenty of hard days throughout the process. It was still long, it was still hard, but I just would never forget the prayers of the people who loved on us so much. So find yourself a community, even if maybe you don't pray or go to church or whatever, but find yourself a community that you're willing to be vulnerable with and to
Yeah.
tell them like, this is
Mhm.
hard. I'm sad. I need a hug.
Yeah.
I need someone to just
Mm.
come sit with me. I need someone to just go to coffee with me and just talk about it. Just tell them, because I have a friend who also did a full IVF and adoption. So our stories are actually very similar, and she took me out to coffee many times, and I would tell her the same stories. I tell her the same sad things, and she would just sit there and listen, and that was a huge thing for me,
Mm-hmm.
to support
Mm-hmm.
me and Caleb. And I know Caleb he has emotions, but kind of like a lot of men, they just kind of shoulder them and they just do their thing. But I could tell he wasn't necessarily having coffee conversations where he wasn't having salty coffee time, but he was having his time in his own way, whether it was through his hobbies or just he plays a lot of video games. So I knew he was playing with his friends or his dad, and he'd be just the extra love and community he had to support him emotionally, so he could then let me cry to him because I cried a lot.
Yeah.
So I think that would be maybe one of my biggest
Mm.
things is find yourself a good community, hopefully a praying community that'll just surround you and love on you. And as far as when you find your match, after you kind of are on the journey, um, have conversations with your surrogate family. Remember that they're people too. They have families too. They have so much love, clearly, to sacrifice their bodies this way. And I couldn't have
Mm-hmm.
asked for a better person, a better person than Abby, who was just so immediately I felt so secure because I could tell the type of love she has, not just for her family, but for a stranger, was very sacrificial. And I think that's really beautiful and very hard to find and genuine without expecting anything. And she truly was just so easy to work with. Like she was so like just no drama, no issues. We had nice little FaceTimes and we were just like cheering each other on through all the things that we're going through. But I think it's because both of us put an effort to be like send texts to each other, so like, hey, you want to FaceTime? Do you want to chat? Do you want to send a little message? Like we both were engaged with each other. So that's something else I tell intended parents, parent that to have a good relationship and also to not make things awkward as you move forward because you're going to be in a hospital room probably more than likely.
Yes.
Don't wait till then to decide like, oh, I guess I should, find out their favorite color or something. Like
Sure.
don't wait till then. Ask the fluffy questions and the deep questions. Get to know them.
Yeah.
Remember their people. Remember they have love to give, and they're worth knowing. Just beyond being like, oh, that's the carrier of my baby. No, that's Abby. That's a beautiful person that has so many good qualities, and she's chosen to be a part of my life in this very intimate and vulnerable way. And I think if you can view it that way, it what makes you grateful, it makes you humble, it makes you compassionate. And then you need all those things as you're doing the surgery to remember, like,
Yeah.
oh boy, like this is a lot, but it's a lot for your surrogate mom as well and her family. So
Oh yeah.
anyway,
For
that was
sure.
long-winded, but all those thoughts just kind of came to me at
No,
once.
it's beautiful, and you're making me have salty
No.
coffee.
I know.
I mean, oh my gosh, you guys. No, I mean, I think that's so beautiful, Kara. What about you, Abby?
Well, thanks for making me follow that.
I know.
No, I
No
vomited.
preach.
We're vomiting.
Whew. No. So good. Oh man. I think that just going throughout this, even this conversation, you can see overarching themes of having community, having a loving, supporting person or people in your life, and being vulnerable, being honest, being just, I think surrendering control in life is something that, both Kara and I love the Lord and we pray and we have our faith and we also have our support. So I think I just want to reiterate that as much as Kara has, that
Yeah.
having a community, having our faith community has also been on our end. I'll give a little shout out to our Southern Illinois surrogates too. I think there's like over 12 of us within an hour of my home who have all carried under Surrogate Solutions, which says a lot to the company. And then so having those women to bounce off like, hey, I forgot how this works, or what does this even mean? Or, how did you handle this situation, and betas and all the things you forget about in the beginning,
Sure.
all of that. So having people to keep you grounded and to bounce off like the tough questions was so important for me. And then just be who you are, be who God created you to be, and just give up control, because we can make our plans, but he is the ultimate planner. So I love it. I love it all.
No, for sure. But I think that's so beautiful, Abby, that idea of give up control, whether you're faith-based or not. If you have taken the time and you are part and you have built this trusted team, agency, doctors,
Yeah.
just all of the professionals that are part of this process, if you have that trusted team, the being able to give up control in an uncontrollable situation and feeling okay with that, because the people around you you trust them, they have your best interest at heart. It makes this process so beautiful. And then you can be vulnerable and you can, just trust in the process. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. No,
Absolutely.
that's beautiful. Well, you guys, this has been amazing. And I'm so grateful that you guys were willing to share your story, and just, I love the relationship that you guys have. I have one last question for you, and it's a fun one. For
Okay.
anyone who knows me, and you guys have seen me this whole time, I'm sipping on my coffee because Coffee and I were best friends, albeit it's saltier now than it was at the beginning. But I always love to ask the question, what filled your cup today? Literally or figuratively, what's been the thing that has filled your cup?
I think this morning I'm in a hotel. Right now, we're actually, my husband does a lot of touring with conventions. He sings, and so we are at hotels a lot. And this morning, he was kind enough to go to breakfast with me in in like downstairs buffet thing.
Yeah.
And yesterday was a crazy travel day. There's another crazy story, but it was just a really nice like morning, just him and me sitting at the table, just enjoying a meal together. Um, and just, I don't know. And we actually do this quite often. We share a lot of meals together, like, and we like the kind of quiet nature of like a coffee shop or a restaurant, quiet restaurant. But this morning, I don't know, it was just something sweet about just sitting in just, a old hotel buffet area and just kind of sitting and enjoying the quiet for a moment before the weekend kicks off with all the busyness he's going to be in. And so just anytime I get a chance to sit and have a chill moment with my husband over food, as this has been the theme for this whole conversation, always fills my cup. It's just some coffee and some bacon, and my husband. That's all I need in the morning.
Bam.
Yeah.
Dream.
Right.
I
That's
love
right.
it. I love it.
Aw.
What about you, Abby?
Oh, very similarly. We took our kiddos to school this morning, and we just came out of one of the most chaotic seasons of our lives.
Oh.
Yeah, so like literally last week. So it's been this transition back into just like peace and being intentional, having hard conversations, and just praying. So yeah, this morning we dropped the kids off and we got an hour to connect before hopping on here, and so we sat on the couch with our coffee as well.
There you go.
And we got to read and pray and just have a beautiful time of just, again, surrendering and just, okay. And when I don't do those, it's not every day that we get to have a blissful morning together, but on those mornings, I'm like, can we do that every day?
Right? Oh,
Yeah.
I love that. I
Mhm.
love that so much. Well, I'm glad you each got to have your peaceful start to the morning. And I love that this got to also be part of your day, because y'all's story really is, it's just so wonderful. And y'all's relationship is just, I mean, it's amazing. It's goals. It's magic. Thank you guys so much. And truly, thank you. It's beautiful. Thank you so much for joining us on this episode of Me, You, and Who. We appreciate your time and hope you enjoyed our discussion today. As we wrap, we would like to remind you of some of the ways that you can stay connected with us and be part of the Me, You, and Who podcast community. Firstly, if you haven't already, make sure to subscribe to our podcast on your favorite platform. Hit that subscribe button so you never miss an episode and can stay up to date with our latest content. But that's not all. We also have an exciting YouTube channel where we share some bonus content, behind the scenes glimpses, and video versions of our episodes. Head over to YouTube and hit that subscribe button there as well. And don't forget to click the notification bell so you'll be the first to know when the new episodes go live. And for more exclusive updates, engaging discussions, and a chance to connect with fellow listeners. Be sure to follow us on our social media accounts. You can find us on Instagram, Facebook, and TikTok at Create a Happy Family. If you're interested in finding out more about creating a happy family, please visit us at www.createahappyfamily.com. Thank you again for being part of the Me, You, and Who community. Your support means the world to us. I can't wait for you to join us next time as we continue to share stories and journeys of creating happy families.